I really loved the reference to Grok. And the next speaker, maybe we can start with a comment because they invested in Grok in 1 year. How did they? What was the story? We really love to know. And maybe the third speaker can also refer to Cisco and TDK when any CCFO takes the stage. On that note, I'm going to introduce you to a tremendous intellectual and thought leader, PhD, who worked for NASA for a long time, and she was hired by TDK Ventures to really scale their companies, get them prepped for the next high-level funding and M&A. And this is a tremendous addition to the ecosystem, and we need such deep thinkers to really predict the future. My pleasure to introduce Dr. Geetha Dholakia. Floor is yours. Welcome.
Ida, absolutely welcome. So TDK is for me a long time household name. I remember TDK tapes, which they were one of the best in the market. They were actually the first ones which had metallic film, improving the recording quality even on little cassette tapes. So I just heard that you came from NASA. Is TDK now going into space exploration as well? Please talk about yourself, your career history, and your mission at TDK.
Thank you, Kaustav and Axel. That's all very flattering. I hope I can live up to those expectations. But yes, so career-wise, or maybe we can go through this step by step. Career-wise, I have a PhD in physics, experimental physics, and my PhD was acquired from Indian Institute of Science in India. And I moved to the US, and my first job in the US was in the nanotechnology group in NASA, Ames Research Center, which is here in Mountain View. And at that time, it was one of the largest federally funded nanotechnology programs in the US. Um, uh, and for 10 long years, I was mainly a researcher working at the intersection of physics and EE. I also had a lot of instrumentation experience from a PhD, so I used that as well to propose for grants in the mission area. So nano satellites, which is nothing to do with nano. It's just a name for satellites that are 100 less than 10 kg, similar to kind of the Starlinks and the planets. So that was the goal, small sats that have a limited time frame and a limited mission range. So that was one area, and also miniaturization of instruments that go on to things like Mars rovers. So broadly, those were the three areas I was working on. And then I moved out for technology consulting and then came back to NASA in the partnerships and the small business innovative research. And for the startups that are here, please look into the SBIR programs from all of the federal agencies. NASA is one of them, but you also have DOD, DOE, based on the areas that you are interested in. They always are a great validation point for you because you will work with federal scientists, and when you get a grant, it's a proof that your technology has a stamp of government approval and that it works. So it's a great step forward for you to get VC funding. And that is essentially what led me to my current role as on the platform side with TDK Ventures. TDK, as you mentioned, is a Japanese conglomerate that is in the 90th year this year, 90, so pre-World War II. And yes, their focus started with material science. They started as a startup, and all of the great performance that we saw in the tapes of yore was because of their focus on material science, and they continue that to this day. And they have expanded into many areas, mainly components. So they were B2C when they were selling the tapes. Now they are B2B, but they are everywhere. You don't see them, but they are everywhere, from your EV cars to every cell phone that you use to laptops. And they are also in the energy space. So components in energy and sensors are the three big areas. TDK Ventures, as the venture capital corporate investment firm, was started in 2019. So we are about 6 years old now. And our mandate is investment in early stage startups, and by early stage deep tech startups. So from seed, sometimes pre-seed, but mainly seed to Series B. Most of our investments fall in the Series A, B stage. And unlike the software space, for deep tech hardware space, Series A and B are actually early stage in the sense that they may be just acquiring customers, but it's mostly product development and technology development at that stage. We have 500 million in assets under management under two classes of funds. Fund 1, 2, and 3 are in the energy and the digital transformation space. And that has a global mandate. We invest across the globe. And Fund EX1, which is one of our newest funds with 150 million, that is under the sustainability and energy transformation space. And it has a mandate of investments in North America and Europe. Yeah, let me see. I believe for the startups that are here, they would be interested in the areas that we are investing in. So under digital transformation, we invest in compute, connectivity, robotics, physical AI, mobility, IoT, space tech. And to your question, Axel, whether we invest in space and whether TDK is in space, two separate questions actually. So TDK Ventures has invested in space. We have a company called Ethereal X, which is in the launch area in India, based in Bangalore. It's an early stage company. And TDK itself, the components are actually quite a bit in space, both on the LEO and the satellite side, as well as on the ground enabling technology side. And on the energy transformation, we invest in all aspects of the energy value chain. So for renewable energy, we have investments in geothermal, fusion, the whole battery ecosystem, which is battery materials, battery recycling, circularity for materials, not just for batteries, right? Circularity in general. And then sustainability areas, especially because of our Fund EX1. So it's carbon neutrality, and then the next gen materials, AI ecosystem, which includes grid, data center power, and everything. So from chiplets to space, you can say that and energy, we are there everywhere. We have 50 portfolio companies, currently about 6 unicorns, including Grok, that was recently acquired by NVIDIA. Khosla asked me a question to talk about Grok, and yes, Grok was an investment, I believe, in 2020 or 19. I don't remember. It's a fairly long time back investment, and we have a components in there. And I was actually blown away to see the speed of response when you ask it questions. So the Grok as a platform, right, for the end user, I think it really provides value. And yes, they were recently acquired for 20 billion by NVIDIA. So that's what we focus on. And my role mainly in TDK Ventures is not on the investment side, but it is a lot on the platform side. I'm a portfolio program director, and my main goal is to enable collaborations between our early stage portfolios and our global TDK business units, which are like span all across the globe, right? China, Japan, Europe, India, North America. And I have team members in US, so Boston and San Jose, which is our headquarters, but also in London. And we are a global company. So TDK Ventures itself has, other than these 3 locations I mentioned, we also have offices in Japan as well. Yeah.
So do I understand your role correctly that you're looking at the flock of portfolio companies and see where they strategically could fit and see benefits within TDK itself?
Yes. So from an investment point of view, we are a little bit different from the description that Tony gave for Cisco, right? So many corporate venture capital firms come in with a very strategic perspective. So that's one of the reasons why they prefer to invest in late stage startups. we are an early stage investor. And so we look for three things when we invest. Doing good to the society, that's one of the main. So that's like a requirement. So we don't invest in technologies that can do harm. So we just stay away from that. In any case, when it comes to deep tech, this is an important thing as well. And the second thing that's very important is financial returns. So we do look for VC type returns. And the third thing is potential synergy with TDK. And I say potential synergy with TDK for two reasons. One, that it is early stage. So it's very hard to figure out what it would evolve in terms of a synergy with the parent corporation. And that's really where most of my team and I spend our time on. And the other reason is, unlike Cisco and many CVCs, we don't need a sign off from the BG, but there is an expectation that there would be collaborations. So these are the three main pillars, and we call that king of the hill analysis for an investment team to make an investment.
So when you talk about early stage, there is this granular, fine-eyed seed stage, very early stage, early stage. Where do you fit in, and do you write term sheets?
Yeah, so most of our investments fall in the Series A and Series B. And like I said, most of the companies are in the product development stage. When they go towards Series B and further, that's when they actually start acquiring customers. At Series B, they really have to think of customers. So they should be in the further along in the product development and start thinking of customers. Do we write term sheets in the sense, do we lead investments? We do lead investments, not all investments. So it depends on the type of investment. If it makes sense for us, we have led investment.
And when we talk about investment round, when a company, let's say, raises about $2 million and it's in the development stage with already LOIs from customers, they are screaming, we want this. Can you write the check alone, or do you have a co-investor, which makes it ultimately in that stage a little bit less attractive for other investors? Big firms don't like to write checks under $5 million, right? So 2 million is still a lower check value. Can you do it alone?
Usually we invest as a syndicate, and it's rare actually for a deep tech firm to have a single investor profile. Both from a customer point of view, they would like to have CVCs in the round, so they could become potential customers or help them scale from many, many perspectives. It just makes sense for CVCs to come in deep tech companies. And also from the amount of capital it takes to scale these companies, they're very, very, very capex heavy. And if I have to take our energy portfolio, they are very capital heavy. They have very long lead times. So it does make sense to have a syndicate. And we help with syndicate building as well. Our check sizes for the fund 1, 2, and 3 are between 250K to 5 million. And we do dedicate 50% for follow-on investments. So if it's a 150 million fund, 75 million would be the first stage investments, and we have another 75 for follow-on investments. So we do at least one more follow-on. So from Series A to Series B, Series C to Series A. Sometimes it's more than one check as well. I forget what your second question was.
Then let's switch over to board seats. Do you take board seats?
Yes, we do. So when I say we, the investment team members do take board seats. They can be board observers. They can actually be on the board. They do both.
Now, in your role, you are involved trying to see whether these companies can scale, can grow. Do you see common mistakes that at that stage companies overlook? I always feel sales is the most attractive investment flag, right? If I have sales, investors come by themselves. Happened to me in one company. We got calls from investors because we made such an impact in the market. How is this from your point of view?
Scaling companies in the deep tech is a very hard job, and that's where I think CVCs can really help them. Because CVCs have that experience already. Now, if you come to, I've been to more than 10 TDK factories globally. And if it's capacitors, they make millions a day. It's just mind-boggling to see the automation and the depth of what is required to enable these things being manufactured with zero defects, right? It's a skill that has obviously been developed over 90 long years, and that's what the startups need to get to if they really want to scale and they want to go to IPO and get sales. This is what is needed. At early stage, you're also looking at technology and how to overcome the challenges in the technology, and from both these aspects, our team helps because a corporate parent, be it Cisco, Toyota, whatever, they come with they have team members that have a lot of this in-house knowledge. And when you make an investment, it's not just the check, right? It's also the knowledge base that comes with collaborations with the parent. So there are a lot of opportunities for the parent to provide inputs to the startups to alleviate some of these issues. They certainly can teach them to scale, and the best way to learn is through projects. So whether it's NREs, pilots, evaluation, JDAs that go step one, step two to an actual scaling phase where you actually scale within the parent corporation. These are all learnings that help the company mature quicker and go to market faster.
Fantastic. You're such a great interview partner. Could go on forever, but we are unfortunately a little bit in time constraints. But also my invitation to you for October 15th, please put it on your calendar. We would love to see you at this great event that we are putting together. And thank you so much for the time you took today. And I will also reach out and talk about some of the backgrounds with you in a one-on-one conversation. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Axel, and thank you, Kaustav, for having me.